Uh, Hello friends, in this video we'll be discussing about the aquatic ecosystems and few terms related to those. Right, so uh, aquatic ecosystems are ecosystems that consist of water as the main habitat, and are those kind of ecosystems are known as aquatic ecosystems. Aquatic ecosystems are classified based on their salt content. So as you can see in this screen, FW, M, and BW. So I've classified these aquatic ecosystems into three different parts. First is freshwater ecosystem, FW. Second is marine water ecosystem or marine ecosystem, MM, and brackish water, BW ecosystems. So any aquatic ecosystem, okay, can be put into under the three categories. So for example, if we say lakes, if we talk about ponds, if we talk about pools, and if we talk about springs, if we talk about streams, and if we also talk about rivers, then those kind of ecosystems will fall under freshwater ecosystem. If we, on the other hand, if we talk about some shallow seas or open ocean, then they will be under marine ecosystems. And if we talk about estuaries, if we talk about salt marshes, if we talk about mangrove swamps, and if we talk about mangrove forests, they can be put under brackish water ecosystems. Okay, so these are few classifications of ecosystems. Okay, so yeah, so now how to classify this under the various subcategories. So generally they are done on the basis of PPT. Now what do you mean by PPT? PPT is nothing but parts per thousand. Like similarly, like parts, you might have heard, no, ppm, parts per million. PPT is parts per thousand. So for example, if you are taking 1000 molecules of a particular molecule, then how much part of another molecule is present in that solution? So that is called parts per thousand. So for example, as you can see in the screen, so if the parts per million is less than 5 salt content, then 5 ppt, then they will fall under freshwater ecosystems. If the parts per million fall under the ambit of 5 ppt to 35 ppt, then we will put them under brackish water ecosystems. And if we get ppt of salt content greater than 335, then we will put under marine ecosystem. I've already said that shallow seas and open oceans are example of marine ecosystems. Now, so as you've seen in the screen, based on the salt content, we can classify the ecosystem as freshwater, marine, and brackish. So I hope freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem, and brackish water ecosystems, the concepts are clear to you. Now you might see that the salt content of marine ecosystem is larger than brackish water ecosystem, which is finally larger than freshwater ecosystem. So we have learned about the types of ecosystem. Now moving on to the next topic, we can the aquatic ecosystems are classified on the basis of their zone of occurrence and their ability to cross the zones, or the type of organisms. Simply you can say the type of organisms present there. So there you can classify both flora and fauna of the aquatic systems into 5 different groups. First is neuston. You can see in the left part of the screen. So neuston is the first classification. Periphyton is the second classification. Plankton is the third classification. Nekton is the fourth classification, and benthos is the fifth classification. So so how to memorize and understand the different classifications? So for example, planktons can be further subdivided into zooplankton and phytoplankton. So no, planktons is easy. I will move in the order of difficulty level. Like the easiest one to remember is plankton and benthos. Okay, so plankton is like microscopic or maybe larger, a bit larger. So planktons can be classified into phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. Okay, so for example, if we consider phytoplanktons, okay, so phytoplanktons would be algae, an example would be algae, and zooplanktons, an example of zooplankton would be protozoans. So protozoans are found in aquatic ecosystems. Okay, so some of us are sometimes affected by protozoans, so we don't think that protozoans are found only on the terrestrial ecosystems. They are found in aquatic ecosystems as well. So one important thing to notice about the planktons is that the locomotory power of the planktons is limited. Yeah, so their distribution is controlled largely by currents in the aquatic ecosystem. So if the current in the aquatic ecosystem is large, then their locomotory power would increase, na? Definitely it would increase. But if we come to nektons, okay, fourth category, you can see that I have encircled it like few times. The handwriting is not clear, but still, if you guys can understand, then it would be like good for me. So nektons, the group of that contains animals which are swimmers, are called nektons. Nektons are relatively large and powerful as they have to overcome the water currents. Okay, so nektons, the power of first of all, just remember that the group of animals, those group of animals are called nektons, that are good swimmers. Okay, so so mostly the fishes we think. For example, if there is swimming insect which is about 0.2 centimeter long or 2 millimeter long, so that would fall under nekton. Also, if we think about the mm, a fish, a normal fish that one eats at home, uh, that um, that is also under that also falls under the category of nektons. And even blue whales would be considered as nekton. So I hope planktons and nektons are clear to you. Now let me move to the fifth category, that is, I'm sorry, wait. Fifth category, that is benthos. So benthos, any word, whatever you say. So they are those organisms that are found living in the bottom of the water mass. Just remember that. If any organism is found in the bottom of the water mass, then that organism can be classified under the category of benthos. Okay, so benthos are pretty different from neuston, periphyton, plankton, nekton, and nekton. So practically every aquatic ecosystem contains well developed benthos. Definitely because they are found at the bottom part. Okay, right. So this is a little bit about benthos. Now let us come to neuston. What are neustons? So as I have said that the organisms, both flora and fauna, in the aquatic ecosystems are unevenly distributed. So they are not evenly distributed. That is one important thing that you must note. So they can be classified on the basis of their life form or location into 5 groups. So first one is neuston. These are unattached organisms. Okay, so neustons are unattached organisms which live at their air water interface, such as floating plants. So any plant, example, you can think of lotus. So lotus is will be a good example of neuston. Okay, or generally we are talking about organisms, right? So lotus can't be an example. So example would be like beetles or back swimmers. Okay, so they live close to the lotus, so they're living in the surface and also in the air. So they're like the animals which are at top of the surface of a marine ecosystem or a freshwater ecosystem or a brackish water